The newsday continues here in One News Now. I'm Diego Castro, bringing you the biggest headlines from around the world. Ukraine reports that its troops had recaptured 3 villages from Russian forces in its southeast region. According to Ukraine, troops had retaken the village of Blahodatne in the Donetsk region. No other details were published, save for a video showing Ukrainian soldiers planting a flag in the window of a heavily damaged building. Ukraine's army also retook Makarivka and advanced in 2 directions further south. Ukraine announced its liberation of settlements after launching a counter-offensive against Russia this week.
З усією відповідальністю уповноважений заявити про звільнення села Благодатне. Це нижче Великої Новосілки. Зробили це воїни 68-ї окремої єгерської бригади імені Олекса Довбуша. Операція була успішною у взаємодії з сусідніми підрозділами Сил оборони Таврійського напрямку. І от ми бачимо перші результати контрнаступальних дій, локальні результати.
One portion of a major U.S. highway collapsed in Philadelphia on Sunday. Smoke billowed from the rubble along the northbound lanes of I-95, the main north-south interstate on the East Coast. Philadelphia Fire Battalion Chief Derek Baumer told reporters that firefighters battled a large fire coming from a vehicle. Baumer said there were no injuries, but crews will be at work for a while to determine if it compromised gas lines.
We did have a collapse of 95, okay, on the northbound side, okay? And the southbound side is compromised by heavy fire. It looked like we had a lot of heat and heavy fire underneath the underpass, okay? No reporting of any occupants or drivers or anything like that. We don't have any of that yet.
Former U.S. President Donald Trump has become the most high-profile person to ever face criminal charges under the country's Espionage Act for the unlawful retention of sensitive national defense records. In all, Trump faces 37 criminal counts, 31 of which relate to secret or top-secret classified documents. He is also charged with obstructing of justice, conspiracy, concealment, and false statements. A former U.S. Attorney General who served Trump from 2019 to 2020 says that if the allegations against the former president are proven true, then, quote, he's toast. These comments are notable as they were made at a time when many other prominent Republicans have been hesitant to criticize the former president and current Republican frontrunner in the 2024 White House race. Trump is due to appear in a federal courthouse in Miami on Tuesday to make his initial appearance on the charges. Trump told Politico on Saturday that he would continue his presidential campaign even if he were convicted in the case, saying he will never leave. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now World. I'm Diego Castro. 3 British tourists are missing after a motorboat caught fire off the Egyptian Red Sea coast. Egyptian officials and security sources said at least 12 people had been rescued. They were brought to safety in the nearby diving resort of Marsa Shagra near the town of Marsa Alam. The fire was caused by an electrical short circuit on the boat, which had been on a trip since June 6. Britain's Foreign Office vowed to provide assistance to nationals involved. 4 indigenous children who were missing for more than 5 weeks in Colombia's southern jungle have been found and are now recovering well. The children aged 1 through 13 survived the plane crash in May 1 and were only found last Friday after weeks of searching. 3 adults, including the pilot and the children's mother, died in the crash. The children were initially treated by military medics before they were transferred to Bogota for proper care. Doctors say the children, reported to be siblings, suffered insect bites and other minor injuries and are currently being stabilized. Colombian President Gustavo Petro also visited the hospital to give gifts to the victims. In a warming world, 10 air conditioners are sold every second. And that's bad news for the energy transition. The details in this report by Bloomberg News.
The world is getting warmer, and people are buying more air conditioning units. Units that are powered by burning fossil fuels, releasing more greenhouse gases, increasing global warming. How's that for a lose-lose situation? Let's break it down. The International Energy Agency says that on average, 10 new air conditioners are expected to be sold every second between now and 2050. As a result, the global stock of air conditioners is expected to grow from 1.6 billion today to 5.6 billion in 2050. Space cooling, defined as fans, dehumidifiers and air conditioners, is expected to overtake appliances to become the largest single user of electricity in buildings globally by 2050. And it's the world's biggest populations, China and India, that are expected to drive this surge in demand for colder air. The additional 2,500 gigawatts of capacity needed to power these units will put a huge strain on local power supplies, equivalent to the current generation capacity of the US, Europe and Japan combined. That surge in additional demand is going to seriously threaten efforts to shift to renewables and away from fossil fuels, making it more difficult for us to meet our climate goals.
And those are the top world headlines of the hour. Join us again at 9 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. Coming right up is Agenda at 8 a.m. I'm Diego Castro. We are One News. All sides, all the time.